Good morning, everybody. I'm Meteorologist Joe Fitzwater. I wanted to provide a Thursday update to what we're expecting in terms of snowfall, kind of the tracks, as well as how much snow we can expect here at our neighborhood as we head into the weekend. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. Now, Meteorologist Brian Hughes, Chief Meteorologist Spencer Atkins, they're going to really dive into the numbers here this afternoon, as well as late this morning, and we'll have an update on some of the new information that's coming in. But this is kind of a ballpark of what I think is going to be taking place here across the region as we head into our weekend storm. I think the majority of us will be in that 2 to 4 inch range. And I think with the mountain upslope that will be taking place Saturday afternoon, we will see some locally higher amounts over the West Virginia mountains. I do think it'll be a little less back towards southern Ohio. And yesterday when we talked, we had mentioned that this was the area that looked like might be the spot where we could see some heavier amounts, but that has shifted a little farther to the east toward parts of West Virginia and eastern Kentucky. So I think that's why that 2 to 4 inch range is a pretty good range. I think a lot of us will be in that 2 to 3 inch range, but some of the hilltops could see around 4 inches, as well as some of the jackpot spots. So we're going to dive down into some of the data here and explain why those values are what I'm thinking here. We'll start with the European model and watch what happens here. Again, just to kind of give you a quick setup, actually, before we go into the model data. So again, what's going to be happening is we'll have a frontal boundary over the area Friday morning, and it's going to be this area of low pressure that we're going to be watching here across parts of central Texas by Friday morning. Watch what happens. It starts to work its way out of Texas into Mississippi and Alabama by Friday night. And what's going to happen is it's going to work its way up to the north and east, and it's going to stay to our south as well as to our east. So with that being said, that's going to allow that cold air to work its way into the area via this area of high pressure across parts of North Dakota and South Dakota. It's going to really allow that cold air to work its way into the system. So as we head towards Saturday morning, that area of low pressure is nearby. We get the energy from that. We have this area of high pressure up to our north and west, and that's ushering in that colder air into the system, and that's what's going to allow things to switch over to snow here across the area. But watch, as we head towards Sunday morning, it's already history. It's only a few hours where we're going to be seeing the snow here across the area. We'll see some pretty heavy snow Saturday morning, and then as we head toward the afternoon, we'll see some snow squalls here across parts of the region. So we'll now zoom in and show this on the European model. Some of the models showing some different solutions, so we'll take a look at that. And again, this banding of snow setting up here by Friday afternoon across parts of Indiana and Ohio. And then as we head towards Saturday morning, we're still seeing not much activity here. We're seeing some light snow activity across parts of southern Ohio, parts of central Kentucky. It's really not until this area of low pressure begins to approach that we start to see the bands really picking up. That area of low pressure now at 1 a.m. down toward the Georgia area. And then it'll work its way up to the north and east, and we get the energy off that. There is that snow band that'll set up here. Again, for maybe around 3 or 4 hours Saturday, we'll have some pretty heavy snow, probably around a half inch to an inch snowfall accumulation rates here as we head through the morning hours. But by 11 a.m., 10 a.m., here on your Saturday, we're already seeing the main snow out of the area, and that's why I think our snowfall totals are going to be cut. This is a very quick-moving system, and it's going to take some time for that snow to begin to stick. Now, behind that will be some upslope. So now, here at 10 a.m., we're seeing the upslope taking effect here, and this will continue at times in the afternoon. We've seen this before, and so another quick inch or so in the lowlands, some better accumulation totals over the West Virginia mountains as a result of the upslope will certainly be possible. So this is one particular model. This is the European model. We can also look at the GFS model. Again, we'll show some different solutions here. Oh, this is a different time frame. There we go. So as we go through Friday, again, that band setting up to our west. Then as we head towards Saturday morning, the GFS a little more aggressive with this heavy snow band, and that's why we've been seeing those heavier snowfall forecast amounts on the GFS model that have been circulating around. And it shows that really heavy band sticking around for 3 to 6 hours, still showing some heavy snow beginning around 1 a.m. Saturday and lasting through around 10 a.m. Both of those models really kicked the storm out by around 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. So that'll allow crews to get those roadways cleared up pretty quickly here by the afternoon time period, with solar radiation being around, being a bit more of a player than what it would be in January, so to speak, with those with the sun being a little more sharper in the sky. That should allow those roadways to begin to clear out here, especially once they start to treat them. And then again, we'll have the snow squall activities here as we head towards Saturday afternoon. And again, we'll take a look at the Schref plumes. We were looking at this yesterday. Now, notice that the mean, which is the black line, has increased to 5.0 for Charleston. But I want to emphasize a couple of things here. First off, we have some models that are showing absolutely nothing. And we've got 3 models that are showing 11, 12 inches of snow. And that's not going to happen. So you take away those 3 models and we drop back probably to around 3 to 4 inches. And if you notice, the majority of the grouping is right in this area. This is where a majority of the model members are located. So and that's not taking melting into account. That's not taking ground temperatures into account. And that's not taking radiation into account. So once you put those key players in, that's going to cut off on some of those totals just a bit. Before we look at some more snowfall total amounts, again, we'll show a couple of different ways of looking at this. Again, this is the GFS. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. And as we get to Friday night into Saturday, that's when we'll be expecting that snow band to start to approach here with that area of low pressure. And where you see the purple, that's where we have the heaviest snow. And this is at 1 a.m. We'll fast forward to 4 a.m. Again, if you have to drive Saturday morning, this is going to be a tough travel here for a few hours during the morning hours on Saturday. Then as we head toward 7 a.m., again, that heaviest snow band starting to work its way out of the area into Pennsylvania and eastern parts of West Virginia. And beyond that, we're just looking at some snow bands here as we head toward the afternoon. This is at 1 p.m. on Saturday here in the tri-state. We can also look at the North American model. I'll go back just a little bit. And kind of a similar setup here. It, in fact, is a little bit more warm. And I think this might be the better solution at this point. This is at 1 a.m. Saturday. And notice that we're looking at rain in the Charleston area still at 1 a.m. And we're not seeing that transition to snow taking place until around 4 a.m. Now, that's a heavy band of snow that sets up on the North American model there for a couple of hours between 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. So we could see a quick 2, 3, perhaps 4 inches of snow in a 3-hour window. And then beyond that, we see the snow banding taking place here as we head into the afternoon. This in particular is at 4 p.m. So I think the solution with the North American model might be probably the better model here at this point. And another way to look at this, again, is those temperatures above freezing. This is at 1 a.m. even on the GFS. So with temperatures above freezing, it's going to be really hard to get that snow to start to stick at first. The European model is at 38 degrees at 1 a.m. And the North American model is still at 47 degrees at 1 a.m. Now we'll fast forward this 3 hours. And now we'll see that the European model is at 31 degrees at 4 a.m. The GFS is at 32, and the NAM's at 33. So 4 a.m. likely going to be when we really start to see that snow start to get close to transitioning. And again, these models usually underplay. They usually have that cold air advect rather quickly. Usually it's a little on the slower side that we see this take place. So it might not be until 4 or 6 a.m. before we really start to see things switch over. However, with that being said, once that snow really sets in, once it completely transitions over, we're looking at a couple of hours of very heavy snow. So travel Saturday morning is not going to be a lot of fun here, at least for a couple of hours as we head toward the early to mid-morning hours. I think by the noontime hour, the roadway should be in decent shape. And again, we'll be looking at around 2 to 4 inches of snow. Real quickly, before we wrap things up, I wanted to take a look. I thought I had some of the snowfall totals up, but perhaps I do not. But here's some of the probabilities. We can look at this, and then we'll look at some of the snowfall totals. This is some of the ensemble members. This is the probability of 4 inches of snow. And again, this does not take melting into consideration. This does not take solar radiation into consideration. And so with those variables in mind, I've been underplaying these totals just a bit here. So that's why that 48% chance for Charleston reaching 4 inches is there. The European models the European ensemble, I should say, is at 61%, and the GFS is at 74%. The GFS ensembles have been on the higher side of the snowfall totals. And real quickly, I'm going to switch over here. and we'll look at some of the snowfall totals. And you'll be able to see there's still a lot of variance in these snowfall totals. So we'll look at this here. If I can get it loaded. There we go. So some of those snowfall totals, again, 24-hour snowfall totals. I'm one day off. There we go. There we go. So the European model, again, showing generally 2, 3, 4 inches. I think this is a little bit better, accurate representation. I generally haven't been a huge European model fan when it comes to these wintry storms this season, but I think this storm's got a little bit better or this model has a little better of a grasp of this setup that's going to be taking place here as we head toward Friday night into Saturday. Some of the other models are a little more on the higher side. Again, the GFS continues to wallop the area, but I think it's a little off on how the storm system sets up, and I think it's a little bit on the forgiving side as far as how quickly that cold air works its way into the system. North American model, kind of the same way, and it kind of shifts that bullseye a little farther to the east toward the West Virginia mountains, and I could see that taking place. It does drop those totals across parts of southern Ohio and western parts of West Virginia. But again, these outputs, just not a great way to look at snowfall totals. This is kind of what we're thinking again with the snow here in our region. Again, I think 2 to 4 inches is going to be a good bet, but meteorologist Brian Hughes, chief meteorologist Spencer Atkins, they'll have the exact numbers coming out here later on today. So that's kind of a quick look at what's going on here across the region. Wanted to provide another update here on this Thursday morning. We will have another update coming up here as we head toward Friday with the latest on what we can expect. We do have winter storm watches that have been issued across parts of southern Ohio, and I would not be surprised if we see some winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings issued here over the next 24 hours. But for now, I'm meteorologist Joe Fitzwater. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday.